Hello everyone, and welcome back. It has indeed been a week since our last journey through Purgatorio. However, before we journey too far into Purgatorio, I must grab myself some food. I apologize, I was in the middle of grabbing it and then I realized, oh shit, I should probably tell everybody that I am live and I am here. So I will be right back. I did say I would be right back. And here I am. And alas, I do have food with me now. I also have an eyelash in my eye. Ow. Always remember, kids, nothing wrong with having to pluck your own eyelashes every now and then. I have to do it quite a lot. Or else they will just constantly fall in my eyes. But anyway, when we last left off, we were on Canto 8. It was, by now, the hour that turns to home, the longing thoughts of seamen, melting hearts, the day they've said goodbye to dearest friends. And when, by love the pilgrim, new to this, is pierced to hear, far off, the evening bell, that seems to mourn the dying of the day. As I began to blank my hearing out, and gaze in wonder at a single soul, who, risen up, hand raised, asked all to hear. This soul first joined his palms, then lifted them, eyes fixed towards the Orient, as though to say to God, for nothing else I care. Ti Lucius Dante issued from his lips, with such devotion, and each note so sweet, it made me wander out of conscious thought. Then, sweetly and devoutly, all the rest, their eyes all turned to those supernal wheels, picked up from him and sang the hymn in full. Reader, Now, fix a needle eye on truth. The veil is, after all, so gauzy here. You'll thread it through as lightly as can be. I saw the noble army of those souls, in silence, turn their gaze towards the sky, as though awaiting something meek and pale. And then I saw, descending from the height, two angels with two swords, each flashing fire. The point of each was blunt and broken off, as green as are the freshest newborn leaves, so wear their garments, fawned by bright, green wings which, drawn behind them, rustled as they beat. One came to stand a little from our heads, the other lighted on the farther bank. The people, thus, were held between the two. Their hair was blonde, and this I clearly saw, but looking at their faces, sight was lost, as natural powers fail, tested to excess. These two, as now Sordello said, have come as guardians of the veil, from Mary's breast, against the serpent who will soon pass this way. I, ignorant of where the snake would come, span all around and huddled closer up, frozen with dread to Virgil's trusted side. Sordello once again spoke out. Let's go and talk. Down there among those famous shades, to see you will, for them, be welcome grace. 3 paces only had I gone, perhaps, and there I was, and one of them I saw, started, wondering who I was. At me, yes me, the time had come when air was turning black, not yet so dark though, that, between our eyes, what first had been locked up should not be clear. He made towards me, as I did to him. Noble Judge Nino, how it pleased me then to see you weren't among the guilty souls. No courteous welcome now remained unsaid. How long, he asked, since over distant waves you reached the foothills that surround this shore? Oh, through unhappy regions, I replied. I came at dawn. I'm still in my first life. Though traveling here, I gained the ether too. And once the meaning of my words was heard, he, and Sordello also, drew away, as people do when suddenly confused. One turned to Virgil, while the other turned to someone sitting there and cried aloud, Conrad, get up. Just see what God's grace wills. Then facing me, I pray you, by the thanks, so singular, you owe to him who hides. His forced, because, so none can pass that stream. When once you're back behind the far-flung sea, then tell my dear Giovanna, she should call, on my behalf, to where the pier are heard. I do not think her mother loves me now, for she has changed her widowhood's white veil, which, wretchedly, she'll yearn for once again. Because of her, one readily can see how long the fire of love in women lasts, if eye and touch don't often kindle it. The viper of the Milanese camp will make for her less splendid burial than my Galorian cockerel would have done. He said all this, his face marked by the stamp of that true zeal that burned with measured flame. Within him, in his truest heart of hearts, my eyes still, avidly, were on the skies, fixed where the stars ran slowest in their track, as reels do closest to the axle tree. My guide, dear son, what do you see up there? Those 3 sharp torches, I replied to him, with which the southern pole is all ablaze. His answer to me was, the 4 bright stars that you saw just this morning sink down there, and these have risen now to where they were. As he said this, Sir Drello drew him close, saying, Look there, you see? Our enemy. He stretched his finger, showing where to look. From that side where this little valley had no sheltering barrier, a snake appeared, perhaps like that which fed Eve bitter food. Through grass and flowers this evil smear came on, rolling its head around from time to time, licking its back as preening beasts will do. I did not see, and so I cannot say, how those celestial hawks began to move. I did, though, see the motion that each made, sensing the air ripped open by green wings. The serpent fled, and both the angels turned, flying at equal pace to their high posts. The shadow that had drawn, when called, towards the judge, had not, throughout this whole attack, at any point released me from his gaze. May that great lamp that leads you to the height discern in your free will sufficient wax, to light your way to that flower-studded peak. So he began. If you have truthful news of Val di Magra, or the neighboring place, then tell me, I was once a great man there. I was, by name, Corrado Malaspina, not the great ancient, but of his descent. I bore love, here refined, towards my kin. Oh, I have never been, I said, through lands of yours, yet who in Europe anywhere is there to whom your name is not well known? The fame that brings such luster to your house exalts your lords, exalts all your domains, so that all know it, though they've not been there. I swear to you, so may I reach the heights, that your much-honored race goes still unstriped of worthiness and prize in purse and sword. Nature, and how they act, so honors them, that through the world's vile head may tryst awry. They all walk straight, and scorn the evil way. And he, go on like that, the sun won't sink within the bed that rams stars. All 4 feet astraddle, cover for more than 7 times. Before the courtesy that you express is nailed within the center of your brain with greater nails than Hirsi brings to you, if judgment is not halted in its course. Gonna take a bite of food now. Gonna take a bite of food. Ugh. Ugh. Gotta stretch. Whew. Sometimes you just feel yourself stiffening up. You gotta get a good stretch in. Canto 9. The concubine of time-worn Tithonus, already on the eastern balcony, out of her dear love's arms, was glimmering white. Her forehead shone with gemstones in the form of that chill animal, the scorpion, that strikes then stings us with its vicious tail. The night which rises step by step had now, where we'd arrived, advanced by two of these, the thord already lowering on the wing, when I, some trace of Adam with me still, conquered by sleep, bowed down towards the grass, where all the five of us had come to sit. In that hour, when the swallow, near to dawn, begins once more her long sad chant, perhaps recalling all the miseries she'd borne. And when our minds, like hawks on foreign tracks, farthest from flesh, least caught in their own thoughts, are near divine in visions that they see. As in some dream, there hovering, it seemed, I saw an eagle in the sky. Its plumes were gold, its wings widespread, its purpose soon to swoop. And I, it seemed to me, was where the kin of Ganymede, when he was seized, swept up towards the highest court, remained abandoned. Just to myself, perhaps, I thought, this strikes only by habit here. Perhaps it scorns to carry things from elsewhere in its claws. And then it seemed that, reeling slightly round, as terrible as lightning, down it struck, and tore me upwards to the sphere of fire. And there the eagle and I, it seemed, both blazed, and this imagined fire so scorched and seared that, yielding, dreaming sleep just had to break. Not very differently, Achilles woke, his startled eyes now staring all around, dazed, knowing nothing of where he might be. His mother having fled with him asleep, within her arms from Chiron's care to Skyros. The Greeks would, after, make him leave that place. So too I shook myself as, from my face, sleep fled, and deathly pale I then became, turning, as terrified we do, to ice. Beside me, there was only my great strength. The sun by now was more than 2 hours high. My eyes were turned back towards the sea. My lord said, "Have no fear. Be confident, for we have reached a good point in our way. Do not hold back, but give your strengths free rein. You've now arrived where Purgatorio begins. So over there, the wall encircling it. See there the portal where the wall is breached. Just now, At dawn which comes before new day, when still your soul was sleeping deep within, couched on the flowers that ornament that place, a lady came. She said, I am Lucia. Let me take up the man who is sleeping there, so I can make his journey easier. Sordello and those noble forms stayed back. She took you up and, once the day shone clear, she came up here, I following in her steps. She laid you down, but first, her lovely eyes displayed to me the entrance open there. Then she and sleep that instant went away. As doubting people do when reassured, changing to confidence the fears they had. Once what is true has been revealed to them. So I, too, changed. And since my leader saw that I had now no cares, he moved to climb, with me behind him still, the wall towards its height. You, reader, can now see how here I raise the theme my verse attempts. Don't marvel, then, if with more craft and art I strengthen it. We now drew closer, and were in that part where, first, as I had thought, a breach appeared, as might some fissure that divides a wall. And now I saw a gate, and, leading there, 3 steps beneath, each colored differently, and at that gate a guardian who spoke no word. And as I opened more my eyes to this, I saw him sitting on the highest stair. His face was such I could not bear that light. A naked sword he held within his hand, which so reflected sun rays back at me, that many times I fixed my eyes in vain. Speak from back there, and say what is your will, so he began, and tell me, where is your guide? Take care, lest going up should cause you harm. From heaven, a lady, knowing all these things, told us a short time past, my teacher answered. Go forward, for the gate you seek is here. May she advance your steps in doing well. Once more the courteous guardian began. Come forward, therefore, to these stairs of ours, and there we came to them. The first great block was marble, white, so burnished and so clean, that I, as I appear, was mirrored there. The second, in its tint more dark than purse, was rock. Waste, rough to touch and scorched and dry, cracked both across and upward to its height. The third, which massively weighed these 2 down, was purpurey, it seemed, and flamed as bright as fresh blood spurting from a severed vein. And on this third, the angel of the Lord had placed both feet and sat across the threshold, which, as it seemed, was adamantine stone. Upon these 3 steps, impelled by good intent, my leader drew to me, saying, humbly ask that he undo the lock that holds the door. I fell devoutly at his holy feet, and asked that he, for mercy, open it. But first, 3 times I beat upon my breast. He then sketched 7 P's across my brow, written with sword point. When you are once within, make sure, he said, you go and wash these scars. The vestments that he wore would be, in hue, the same as ash or soil when dug out dry. Then, from beneath his robes he drew 2 keys. One key was silver and other gold, with first the white, then yellow after that. Sorry about that. He worked the door, so I was well content. Whenever either of these keys falls short and fails to turn correctly in its lock, this path, he said, will not then open up. One is more precious, but the other needs much greater art and skill to make it turn. This is the one that gets the knot undone. From Peter I receive these keys, who said, when penitents have bowed down to my feet, or more in opening than in locking out, he pushed the panels of the sacred gate, saying, go in, but be aware of this, that those who look behind return outside. And when the pivots of that sacred hall, forged out of resonantly massive steel, were wrenched around within their housing hinge, no roar was heard, no harsher sound was made, by Tarpeian doors, when from which them honest Metallus was dragged, doors that were henceforth lean. I turned attentive when the thunder broke, and seemingly Te Deum Landamus was heard, as voices mixed in that sweet tune. The sounds I heard brought back into my mind this same impression that we often get when organs play, accompanying a voice. Now, yes, we hear the words. Now, no, we don't. Oh, hello, Corey. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for some sip. I shall get some sip. Oh, yeah. I forgot to add something. I was going to add a new custom reward. There we go. I had a funny idea while I was like sitting around the other day, and I was like, man, I feel like it would be funny to have a reward on my channel that just allows you to write a tweet for me. Because I'm like, I already tweet out sometimes like the most over the top, ridiculous nonsense. And I was like, I might as well allow myself to just have others also tweet out nonsense for me. Could be interesting. I think so too. And I'm just like really hoping, because I'm like, I feel like I am going to be able to just really enjoy just some like ridiculous tweets that people could come up with for me. Because I know for a fact nobody's going to be able to come up with anything as ridiculous as I already tweet, but I feel like people might just be able to come close. But allow us. Well, actually, allow me to take one more bite of food. That's some good pizza. All right. Be honest with me. Do you eat pizza crust, or do you leave the pizza crust? Because I, myself, am a pizza crust kind of guy. I enjoy myself some crunchy pizza crust. I eat the pizza crust. I knew I liked you, Corey. I always knew I liked you. I feel like it's wasteful to leave the crust. Exactly. That's how I am. I'm like, sometimes there is pizzas where you have to leave the crust because the crust is just burnt, or the crust is just not that good. But on most pizzas, it's like you get to that crust and you're like, the final bit of the meal. It's like eating the bread roll at Thanksgiving dinner. You eat the rest of the food, then you eat the bread roll, and you're like, God, this bread roll with some honey and some butter on it is delicious. I have been sent back to my stream via V. I called V cute while finishing that last bite of pizza. And they did not enjoy that. They sent me back. They told me get back to my stream. My defense, I had a mouthful of pizza. Canto tell V hi for me? I will. Let me go. We did it. V has responded with a cat with a gun. I don't know what that means, but I think that's V's way of saying hello. Canto 10. Now, both within the threshold of that gate, our souls won't use it out of ill-bent love, which makes the crooked way to us seem straight. I heard it closed, resoundingly again, yet if I'd turn to set my eyes on that, what adequate excuse could there have been? We climbed now through a true of fissured rock that moved on either side, this way and that, as waves do, surging near, then running back. We'll need, my lord began, a certain skill to keep together tight against the curve. That, ebbing here and there, avoids the swell. This made our footsteps few and hesitant, and so the moon, which now was on the wane, had reached its bed to lie once more at rest. Before we'd gone beyond that needle eye, but once we did get free and opened up, climbing to where the mountain gathered in, I all worn out and both of us unsure of where to make our way. We paused upon a road far lonelier than any desert track, if measured from the edge that marked the void, towards the foot of that still soaring mount. The span would be 3 human body lengths, and, be it to the left side or the right, as far as eyesight could extend its wings, the ledge, in circuit, seemed to me the same. We'd still to move our feet towards those heights, when I perceived that, all around, the bank which rising straight, lacked any upward route, was marble, brilliant white, and all adorned with carved reliefs so fine that polyslight, or even nature, would have their felt scorned. The angel, reaching earth with that decree of peace, so wept for over centuries, which opened heaven's long forbidden gates, appeared so truthfully before us now, carved in a gesture of pure gentleness. He did not seem an image keeping silence, In truth, one might have said he spoke the ah. For in that image was the one who turned, the key that opened out the utmost love. And from her stance and bearing there shone out, exactly as an imprint sealed in wax, Esi ansila de, word for word. Don't keep your mind fixed only on one part. These words my teacher gently spoke to me. I held him where all others have their heart. And so in sight I moved, and I could see, behind Marie, on the side where he, in urging me to make a move, now stood. Set in the rock, another narrative. Passing by Virgil, I came near to that, so that it stood displayed before my eyes. Carved there, in marble, also, was the cart, with oxen carrying the holy ark, because of which we dread unsanctioned deeds. Before the ark were people, as it seemed, gathered in 7 choirs who made my sense. Hearing in sight say, no, and yes they sing. In that same way the incense smoke, which there was imaged, worked on eye and nose. So these were not concordant as to no and yes. Before that vessel of all holiness, the humble psalmist danced, his robe tucked up, both more and less than king in all of this. Then Michael, opposite, was gazing down, as from some window of the royal court, an effigy of rancor and disdain. I turned my feet away from where I'd stood, to note another story, close at hand, its gleam beyond the Michael showing white. Instoried here was found the glorious deed of that high prince of Rome whose prowess moved Pope Gregory to win great victory. I speak of Trajan, noble emperor. A widow there had snatched his horse's wain, her gestures those of grief and bitter tears. Around him, surging horsemen, as it seemed, filled all the space, and eagles wrought in gold were seen above, as moving in the wind, the wretched widow, as these thronged around, was saying, seemingly, "My lord, avenge my dearest son. He's dead. That is my heart wound." He seemingly replied to her, "Just wait, I shall return." And she, "My lord," as though her agony were quickening all the more. "But if you don't return, and he, the one whose where I am, will act, and she, how can his good be yours when you forget your own? Then he, be comforted, it's right that I fulfill before I move that I should do. Justice demands this, and compassion binds. The one who sees no thing that's new to him, produced this form of discourse visible, so new to us, so fresh since not found here. While I, in all delight, still gazed upon these images of great humility, more precious being formed by that skilled hand. Look over here. Although their pace is slow, there are, the poet murmured, people there, a crowd who will send us to the steps above. My eyes, entranced in wonder, longingly, still seeking happily new things to see, turned round towards him, making no delay. Yet, reader, I'd not have your minds bewitched, hearing how God would have the debt repaid, or drawn away from your best purposes. Don't dwell upon the form their sufferings take. Think of what follows, and that, come the worst, it can't go on beyond the judgment day. Sir, I began, it seems that what I see, moving towards us, are not human forms. I cannot tell, I wave, I look in vain. Their grievous mode of punishment, to me, so creases them and bends them to the ground, that my eyes, too, first fought at what they see. Look, though, and fix your gaze. Let sight untwist the vines of what comes there beneath these stones. You see already how each beats his breast. Proud Christians, wretched, and, alas, so tired who, feeble in your powers of mental sight, place so much faith in your own backward tread. Oof. Spicy water. Do you not recognize that you are worms born to become angelic butterflies that fly to justice with no veil between? Why is it that your thoughts float up so high? You, with your faults, are little more than grubs, chrysalids, no more, that lack full form, as sometimes, bracing up a roof or vault, a figure will be seen as Kerbel stone, that, bending, joins its two knees to its chest, at which there's born, in anyone who sees, from this non-truth, a truly harsh distress. That's how I saw them when I gave them thought. The truth is each was hunched up, less and more, according to his load, some more, some less. The one who, from his actions, bore the most appeared in tears to pant. I can't do more. Okay. That was Canto 9. Or was that Canto 10? That was Canto 10. I'm behind one number. I am going to quickly go pee, and then we will return. And alas, once more I return, and allow us to return to the story.
I could not write poetry. I would not be good at it.
Welcome back. Thank you, thank you. It is good to be back. Had to, just hit up the bathroom for a quick second. Our Father, or wait, sorry. Canto 11. Our Father, dwelling in the heavenly spheres, not circumscribed by these, but through that love which you bear more, on high to primal things, your name and all the prowess of your might be praised by every creature. It is fit to pay all thanks to your to your sweet forming power. May peace, as in your realm, come down to us, for we ourselves cannot attain to that. If come, it doesn't, not with all our wit, as all your angels make a sacrifice, singing, Hosanna of their wills to you, so too may men make sacrifice of theirs. So give us this day the manna each day needs. Without that, exiled in this grinding waste, all travel backwards who strive forwards most. And just as we, to everyone, forgive the harm we bear, grant generous pardon too, and do not look upon what we deserve. The powers we have, so easily subdued, do not make trial of through the ancient foe, but free us from the one who is our goad. This final prayer is made, O dearest Lord, not for ourselves. We now have no such need. We speak for those behind us who've remained, then praying for themselves and us. Godspeed. Those shadows made their way beneath such loads as sometimes in our nightmares can be seen. Around and all around on that forest ledge, worn out, tormented, though each differently, purging away the murky fogs of earth. If they, in that place, always speak our good, down here what can be said and done for them, by those whose wills are good and where they root. We surely ought to help them cleanse the marks that they bore hence, till, light and weight and pure, they've power to rise towards the reeling stars. May justice and compassion soon relieve this weight from you, so you may move your wings, which then, as you desire, may lighten you. So too, point out to us, to left or right, the shortest way to go towards the stair. If more than one, teach us the least steep slope. For this man here, who comes along with me, burdened in being clothed and clothed with Adam's flesh, is loath to climb, despite the will to do. The words that came, responding now to those that he whom I was following first spoke, rose from some source not clearly manifest. But this was said, Turn right and come with us along the bank. You'll find an upward path where even living persons can ascend. And were I not impeded by this stone, that tames the hauteur of my once proud neck, so I am bound to keep my head held low. I'd raise my eyes to look at this man here, alive still, though unnamed, in case I knew him, and make him look in pity on my load. I was Italian, bred of Tuscan stock. Aldo Brandesco was my noble seer. I don't know if his name was known to you. The ancient lineage and courtly airs of my great forebears wrought such pride in me, that heedless of the mother we all share, I so disdained all other men. I died because of that. The Saints know this, as do the squads in Campagnatico. I am Umberto, and my arrogance did harm to me, but not to me alone, for all my peers were victims of that bane. Because of this, till God is satisfied, I needs must bear this weight among the dead, since I did not while still with those who live. Still listening, I had kept my face bowed low, and one of them, not he who spoke these words, twisted beneath the load that bore him down. He saw and recognized, then called to me, holding his eyes, with effort, firmly fixed on me, bowed down, who went along with him. "Oh, aren't you Oderisi?" I replied. "Great Gubbio's glory of that art, known to Parisians as design and light." "Dear man," he said, "those pages smile far more than Franco Bolognese smoothly pens. The honor is all his, and partially mine. Yet while I lived, I'd not, you may be sure, have shown such courtesy. My heart's desire was excellence. I yearned for that alone. For arrogance, like this one, pays a fee. And I'd still not be here if I had not. While having power to sin, turned back to God. Oh, what vain glorying in human powers! How short a time the green lasts on the height, unless some cruder, darker age succeeds. Once as a painter, Kimbaur thought he took the prize. Now, Giotto's son on all lips, and Klimbao's fame is quite eclipsed. In verse as well, a second Guido steals all glory from the first, and someone's born who will thrust, perhaps, both Guidos from the nest. The war of earthly fame is just a breath of wind, blowing from here and then from there, that changes name and changing origin. What more renown will you have if you strip your flesh and age away than if you died before you'd left off lisping, dindins, pinth? When once 1,000 years have passed, a space that falls far short of all eternity, an eye blink to the slowest turning sphere, he who, ahead of me, takes such brief strides is one with whom all Tuscany once rang. His name's now scarcely whispered in Siena. where he was lord when Florence, running wild, as proud at that time as its whole like now, was left destroyed and ravaged by the war. All your renown is colored like the glass, or like the grass, which comes then goes, and he discolors it who made it first appear from bitter earth. And I to him, your words in truth give heart to good humility, and puncture pride. But who's this man of whom you speak just now? Provenza Salvani, the answer was. And he is here because he proudly claimed to hold Siena wholly in his hands. And since his death, he's walked as now he walks, without repose, like all who down there dared. He pays his debts in full with such like cash. And I, if any spirit who delays repentance to life's final verge is bound to dwell below the gate and not ascend. Unless good prayers on his behalf bring aid, until it's passed as much time as it lived, how was it granted him that he should come? When he could boast in life most glorious fame in Campo di Siena, free from shame. And there, to save his friend the punishment, inquired in his improvements to Charles. He brought himself to tremble through dark each vein. I'll say no more. I know I speak dark words, but little mine will pass till those near you will act in ways that can explain. Pozny's deed removed him from these bounds.
Whew. Had the stretch there, and I kind of had a moment where everything went black. Had to catch myself. I think that means I need water. Whew. Tasty. Some good old tasty Okuba summer. Ugh. I think we are going to do one more canto. Because let's see, we started off on Canto 7? Or did we start on Canto 8? Okay, yeah, we started on 8. So 8, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I think if we read one more, we will have at least read 5 cantos. Which I want to read at least 5 or more in the span of like an hour and 30 to 2 hours. But considering I'm starting to like have moments where my vision is mixing words up on the page because I'm just a little tired because I worked today, I think we are going to read one more canto and then see how I feel. I might be able to get through 2. We will have to find out, because I would hate to keep on stuttering like I am because of words getting all jumbled on the page. Paired up, like oxen yoked to move as one, so onward with that burdened soul I went, as long as he, my dear kind sir, allowed. But then he said, leave him and go beyond. The best thing is that each here drives along, his craft by oar or sail, as best he can. I made myself, as walking one must do, in person stand up straight, and yet my thoughts remained in me stripped bare, reduced, bowed low. I'd now moved on, and followed willingly the footsteps of my teacher. And we two already showed and tread how light we wore. And then he said, just turn your eyes down there. That will be good for you, to ease the way. See there the bed on which your paces rest. Compare to serve as some memorial. But those entombed beneath our earthly graves bear signs of what they had been when alive, at which it often happens that we weep, responding to the spore of memories, which only strike the heel of pious minds. I now saw carvings there, though finer, far, considering the hand that crafted them. Along the path the mountain cliffs had left. Mark now, to this side, I here saw the one, nobler created than all creatures else, thrown down in flashing thunder fire from heaven. Mark this, I witnessed on the other side, pierced by the spear celestial, brillious, heavy on earth, laid low in deathly chill. Mark this, I saw Timbrus still in arms, and Mars and Pallas round their father's side, amazed to see the scattered giant bones. Mark this, I saw beneath the towers he'd made, Nomrad as in confusion, all the tribe of Shinar, arrogant as he, gazed on. Ah, Niobe I saw, with grieving eyes, I traced your outline carved within that road, among your children 7, then 7 slain. Ah, Saul, it seemed that you were there as dead, pierced on Gilboa's hill with your own sword, feeling no longer showers of rain or dew. Ah, mad Arachne, how I saw you there, half turned to spite her, and the work in shreds which once attempted brought you so much harm. Ah, Rehoboam, as you're there portrayed, you're not now menacing, but full of dread. A chariot bears you off, though none gives chase. Now, also shown on that hard floor, was how Alcmaeon made the fatal ornament that cost his treacherous mother very dear. Now was displayed how Sennacherib's sons flung themselves at him in the temple hall, and how, once dead, they left him there all alone. Once there appeared the chaos. In the temple hall, and how, once dead, they left him there alone. Now they appeared the chaos, crude and cruel, wrought by Thomas, who to Cyrus said, "You thirst for blood. With blood I'll feed you full." Now, fleeing, the Assyrians were shown, rooted when Holofernes met his death, and showed the relic of his mortal pain. Mark this, I saw Troy's ash, and hollowed stone. Ah, lion, how humbled and how vile. Now picked out in those signs, you seem to be. What master of the pencil or the brush could reproduce those shadows and those strokes, which there would make the sharpest mind admire? The dead seemed dead, the living seemed alive, and all I trod upon, bowed low, I saw far truer than had those who'd seen it true. Strut on, you sons of Eve, with heed held high. Display your pride and do not bend your face to see the arrows of your evil way. We've made more distance round the mountainside, spending more time than mind, still bound, supposed, in following the track the sun absorbs. When he who when he, who always kept his mind ahead, began now, straighten up and lift your brows. The moments past to go caught up like this. See, over there, an angel quickens pace. It comes our way, come see too, the hour, sixth handmaid of the day, already turns. Adorn your eyes and acts with reverence, so he, to his delight, may speed our climb. Think, the same day will never dawn again. I was well used to his admonishments, always to waste no time, so as to say. The words he spoke could hardly be obscure. To us that lovely creature now advanced, white vestured, no countenance, it seems, trembling in air as does the morning star, opening his arms, then opening his wings. He said, "Now come, the steps are very near, and now the climb could not be easier. Men, though invited, come too early here. O human nature, you are born to fly. Why fail and fall at merely puffs of wind? He led us where the cleft was in the rock, and he struck his ring across my bow, then promised me the way ahead was safe. Compared to scale the hill towards that church which dominates the city, so well ruled, that stands around the Rubiconte Bridge. White wards the vaunting angle of the climb. It's broken by a stairway built in times. When chronicles and balances were true, like this where the next thing comes true. I don't want the bank to be true. Like this, the bank which falls so steeply here. From where the next ring stands was gradual, though all around the high rock shaved its sides. While turning, we two persons to that slope, voices sang out, Beata Papyrus. It's no mere speech could properly refact. Oh, as no mere speech could probably relate. How different from the thorough fates of hell are those enjoying... Oh wait, what? How different from the thorough fates to hell are those through which we passed. For here with songs we enter fierce... with fierce lamentations. There we go. We were, by now, ascending that great stair, and I, it seemed, was lighter now by far than I had seemed while still on level ground. Have to shake off the jitteriness. So, tell me, sir, I said, what weight has now been lifted from me, so I almost feel. No strain at all in walking on my way, he answered, when the peas that mark your brow remaining still, though growing now more faint, have all, as is the first, been sheared away. Your steps will then be conquered by goodwill, and being thus impelled towards the heights, we feel no strain but only sheer delight. And then I did what anyone would do. With something on their head, they can't tell what, but seeing people point, peer up suspiciously, then raise a hand to help them be quite sure, to search around, to find and do the job. That sight had been unable to complete. So now, my right-hand fingers found reduced, the letters were inscribed to merely 6. Of those the angel with the keys had cut. My leader, watching as I did, so smiled.
All right. Yeah, that brought us exactly to 1:30, like I thought it would. Ugh. Perfect. Well, I thank you all for joining me one more time, and hopefully not the last time, for Dante's Purgatorio. Next Sunday, we indeed will be reading more of it. But for now, I shall see who I can send you on over. Let's see. Huh. Let's see.
Alright, yep, I found who we'll raid. We will raid over into Lampy Moth, who is doing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Drawing, it seems. Or at least that's what their title says. And I am a huge fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, yeah, absolutely, we're raiding into that. That sounds fun. But yes, until next Sunday, I hope you all have a wonderful week. And I shall see you for when we return to Purgatorio. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, Corey, for joining me.